Hello and welcome. Hi. Good to see everyone. So, unfortunately, this is our last virtual class. It won't get us down. I just wanted to let you know. We will be back in June, is the plan, outside. Fingers crossed, we can be outside with probably still a little bit of distance, but, nice and safe. Hopefully, we will all be able to be vaccinated if that is something you are looking forward to. So for tonight, it'll be a gentle flow, just kind of coming full circle. We start off with some gentle vinyasa. We moved on to a couple of other facets of yoga, and we'll come back tonight. So you really don't need anything at all. Perhaps a pillow or bolster if you'd like. But other than that, you can just find a comfortable place to settle into your space, and we'll start with some breathing. I'm sitting on a bit of a cushion because it helps me to get my spine nice and tall. If that works for you, go ahead and take that option. You can be seated, you can be laying down. It's totally up to you. Once you find a place of calm, just close down your eyes. Start to breathe a little deeper. No need to keep your breath still and shallow. You can allow these breaths to, create some movement throughout the spine. If you feel like inhaling and arching your back just slightly feels really good, take that. Feels wonderful to let these first few breaths allow the body to move so that we can really take notice of where we are as we enter this space tonight and how we can use the next hour to really bring our body and mind together as one. Take a few more breaths just like this. Filling up the entire lungs from bottom to top, and then depleting from top to bottom. Two more breaths here, just like this. And we hold in stillness at the bottom. Now the breath is yours to continue on through this practice. So let it be full, let it be shallow, let it be whatever needs to be in that moment. But rather than defaulting to a throat breath, I invite you to start all breaths from the low belly. Now, I did say shallow. We don't always have to take the biggest breath because that can be taxing, especially right at the beginning of our practice. If we're still opening up the lungs and getting used to breathing a little deeper than we have been all day, perhaps. So, no need to take every single breath as the most full breath you have taken all day. That might be a little bit unrealistic right now, and that's okay. We honor where we are in this space right here. Take whatever size breath feels good. Each breath is a new chance to start again. But do start the breaths from the low belly. If you would like, as you exhale, you can press against that outer abdominal wall, almost like a little bit of resistance, that kind of firm belly exhale that we use. Taking a few more breaths here, just feeling what it's like to regulate the breath on our own. And as we begin our practice tonight, I offer the intention of pondering the dichotomy between activation and neutralization. So, activating energy, neutralizing energy. We're going to kind of go between these two tonight to practice cultivating endurance, something that we definitely might be searching for as we take our practice outside, as we take our practice to, a more physical space, perhaps. So, cultivating this endurance. And for me, endurance is so much about mindfulness. It's about listening to where you are and seeing if you can match your body's movement to how you're feeling. And you may think, well, that makes me go less. That'll make me do less. But so often it actually helps us to do more and helps us kind of dig deeper to find a strength that we didn't know we had. So as we continue on, activation, neutralization, activating energy, neutralizing energy, manage yourself as you can. Take the opportunities I'll give to rest or to activate, to level up, and see where this takes us for our hour together. We'll begin our practice with one Om. Eyes can stay closed. Option to take that intention or to use something else. Hands come to heart center. You can rub your palms back and forth if you'd like to feel that energy. And then we'll all join or listen, up to you, for one Om. Inhale for Om. Exhale. Om. Beautiful. Opening your eyes, gently come out of your meditative state wherever you are, and we'll find ourselves in a child's pose. So knees are going to come wide, toes are back behind. Knees are as wide as it feels comfortable to you. And just use your hands to press your hips back and down. We'll stretch on either side. You can move around. You can do whatever feels good in this moment. If it feels good to extend your hands over to one side, pressing into one hip, go ahead and do that. This is really all about finding what's best for you as you start your practice. If you've chosen one side, go ahead and flip onto the other side when you are ready. Or I should say, move gradually. If you're staying in stillness in the center, let your heart melt down to the floor. Let the low belly be loose. Inviting maybe a gentle curve through the spine. One more breath here. And then exhale, coming all the way back up. We're going to come into a tabletop position, warming up very gently through the hips. You're going to extend one leg back. Tuck the toes so that you can get a gentle calf stretch. Maybe even pulse just slightly. You can hold in your extended calf stretch. You can take a gaze over at that back foot, inviting a stretch through the side of your neck that is opposite to the extended foot. So if your right foot is back, left side of the neck is stretching. We're here for one more breath. And then come back to center. Now, this is an option if you would like to take a little bit of a balance. You can place your opposite hand into the earth, lifting that back foot, And then keeping the grounded hand the same as the lifted foot, you're gonna reach back behind, bend the foot, or bend the knee rather, and come into a quad stretch with a little bit of a twist. This is an option, of course. You don't have to take this. If you would like to come up to a kneeling position, you can take a quad stretch this way. Same leg, same foot, same arm. One more breath here. And then coming back to tabletop. Release that foot down to the mat. Go ahead and shake it out and return to center. All right, we're coming on to the other side. I will turn to face the opposite way so that you can see, but it's the opposite side you just did. So you inhale, extend other leg back, tuck the toe, press back and stretch the calf. Nice job. You can pulse or you can hold in the extension. And then we will find a quad stretch. So again, either coming up to a kneeling position, same arm, same leg, pulling that heel into the seat, or you can keep that arm or that leg lifted, bend the knee, twist back and around, find a quad stretch with a twist. You're here for one more breath. We have a friend joining us. Hello. He's demonstrating down dog. He knows it well. And then let that go. Come back to center. You can shake it out. Do whatever feels good here. And then we're going to come into a puppy pose. How fitting. So both hands are going to come out in front. I'm just switching to the first side. Doesn't matter though. You can tuck the toes. You can keep them untucked, up to you. But knees and hips are stacked. That's the most important thing as you walk your hands forward. So goal is either to place the forehead on the mat or your chin. It's up to you. Do be careful if you place your forehead on the mat that you're not smashing into your nose too much. That won't feel so good. You'll feel this gentle curve through the spine, as well as a nice opener through the shoulders. Kind of a double stretch here. We'll stay here for 3 full breaths, nice and deep. Beautiful. Now coming back up to a tabletop position, we're gonna press back onto the heels, take a few shoulder openers. So I like to stretch the backs of my feet as I do this, but you can fatigue in this quite easily. So if that happens, just untuck the toes and sit back on the heels. First stretch is just a crossbody shoulder opener. The extended arm is limp. The other arm is gently pulling this shoulder towards your side. Nice work. Really tune into your body, feeling those muscle fibers. Release. We don't do this position in our day very often, so we can really relish in this wonderful stretch. Excuse me. And when you are ready, gently come into a chest opener, resetting before side 2. Again, if you would like, you can add this gentle stretch on the back of your feet. It's kind of a little warm up for our down dog. Coming onto side 2, opposite arm crosses in front of the body, pulling gently over to one side. Nice job. Feel free to have some music going if that helps you throughout your flow. I'm trying something different with my audio today, trying not to overload it with too much. So you won't hear music from my audio. Oh, we heard something else. That's okay. All right, coming back through center, we're going to take one more shoulder opener stretch. One arm comes out in front, opposite hand grabs the wrist, pushing out with the extended arm as you pull over. We're targeting the space in between the shoulder blade and the spine. So kind of that area in between that is really hard to stretch. We're activating that right here. We're okay. It's okay. He's all right. It's okay, bud. He's okay. All right, when you are ready, coming over onto the other side. You're okay. Same stretch, but on a different side, it may feel totally different. I love this stretch. Really opens up an area that is so hard to activate through most of our day while we sit. All right, coming back through center. When you are ready, sit back down onto your heels. Take a couple of neck rolls all the way through. Warming up from the bottom of our all the way through the top into the base of our head. One more all the way around. And then coming back through center. All right, we're coming back into a tabletop, getting ready for our first downward dog. So toes can be tucked here. Knees are about 6 inches apart, as well as our feet. So our knees, our hips, our feet are all parallel. Hands are out in front. They can be a little farther out if you know that your down dog is usually too narrow coming from a tabletop. When you are ready, firm through the low belly. Inhale, hover the knees, hold for 3, 2, and 1. Then press your hips high to the sky, pressing back into your first downward dog. So we invite the stretch from the calves through the hamstrings all the way up to the base of the seat. Now let's talk about the arms. So we just stretched our neck, our shoulders. Let that stretch still hold. So your outer shoulders are spiraling away, back and down, as your thumb and forefinger are spiraling in. So this kind of feels like a lot going on, but it's really a reminder to melt the shoulders down your back. We always want to put them up to our ears in down dog. Let them go. Maybe even take a couple of shoulder shrugs up and then let them go. Here in down dog for 2 more breaths. You can pedal out to your knees. You can move from side to side with your feet, whatever feels best to you. And then when you are ready, start to walk your feet to meet your hands. Coming up at the top of your mat for a halfway lift. Spine is long, gaze is down, couple inches in front of your feet. And then exhale, melt down. Let everything be nice and loose. On your next inhale, roll all the way up, 1 vertebra at a time until you come all the way back to the top. Shoulders are back and down, arms are open, palms open. 3 breaths in your mountain pose, eyes closed. This is truly the beginning of our asana, our movement. Let your body start in a place of calm, a space where you would like to begin. One more breath. And exhale, let it go. Take a quarter turn. If you haven't already, we're facing the short edge of our mat. We're taking a gentle flow this evening, so we won't be in our vinyasa for too long. And there are many options to go a little bit more or a little bit less. Take what feels good to your body. No judgment, no place for that in this space, right? Just let it go. Inhale, arms rise up, gaze shifts overhead. Exhale, big forward fold all the way down. Inhale, come to a halfway lift. Spine is long, gaze is down. Exhale, plant the hands, step one foot back, other foot back, coming into your high plank. So the backs of the feet should be open, the quads should be lengthened. You're feeling good in this high plank. You can always drop the knees, untuck the toes. Take this from right here. Feeling good just the same. It doesn't matter, whichever feels best to you. Now, if you're in your kneeling position, you can lower all the way down to the mat. Belly button is on the ground. If you're in your high plank, inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, come up for an upward facing dog. And exhale into your down dog, whichever option you chose. Exhale and meet us in a down dog. Now in your down dog, it's always a place where you can take a quick rest. Knees come wide, toes come to touch. Come back into a child's pose. Again, our flow will not be that taxing tonight, but that doesn't mean that we can't pay attention to what's happening in the body. So maybe it is taxing, and that's okay. Taking the child's pose, taking the rest is way more important than powering through and feeling discomfort. One more breath in down dog, shoulders down. And then exhale, inhale, start to walk your feet to meet your hands. Come up for a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way back up. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, find a halfway lift. And then exhale, plant the hands. You're gonna step one foot back, but keep the knee lifted. We're gonna come all the way up into a warrior two. Hips are open, front toes are facing where we began. Back toes are turned parallel with the short edge of the mat, sinking into your front knee. Gaze is out in front of the middle finger. We're going to take a couple of side body openers here. Inhale, and then exhale, straighten that front knee. And then inhale, bend it, come all the way over. Now keep that knee bent. You may find you just went a little deeper than you did before. It's a trick, I know. I do that too. Now keep that knee bent. Come all the way up. And exhale all the way down. Two more. Inhale all the way up. Exhale down. Find length in both sides of the body. Inhale. And then exhale, hold at your lowest point. Beautiful. Inhale, come on back up to warrior two. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands around. You're in your high lunge. You have options. You can step both feet back for a plank, go through a vinyasa, that flow we just did, or step the foot back, find a down dog. If you need a moment, take your child's pose here. If you're feeling good, stay in your down dog. If you would like more, go from down dog to plank 3 times. Little low belly workout. Last one. And then hold in your down dog, one more breath. And then exhale. Now we're gonna enter side 2 from our down dog. So the foot that you had in front, see if you can remember which one that was. Inhale the opposite leg up. Exhale, send it through. So you should be in that high lunge on the other side. And then you're gonna come up, find your warrior 2. So I'll switch around so that I can face you. Nice job. Holding in your warrior 2, bending into that front knee. Again, gaze is out in front of the middle finger. Then we'll take those same side body openers. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, come back. Straighten that knee. And inhale all the way through. Nice. I bet you just bent your knee a little bit more. Keep it there. Exhale back. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, nice stretch, hold. And then exhale back through center. Now we're in our warrior 2. We're gonna bend just a little deeper through that back, or through that front knee, my mistake. And when you are ready, you're gonna cartwheel your hands around. Again, you can take a vinyasa, or using that core, scoop the knee in, send it back for a down dog. The beauty of practicing in your home is that you can always level up a little bit. You can always take a break, and you never have to sacrifice any bit of your practice for the ego, right? Well, I hope not, because it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. You can turn your camera off, you can turn it back on. It's whatever you feel best to do. So as we transition into a more physical space, keep this notion of really tuning in. Take the rest of this time to tune into the body as much as you can. One more breath in your down dog. And then we're going to flow one more time, the peak of our series tonight, finding triangle pose. So you're in your down dog. Exhale, start to walk your feet up. We'll take a brief reset with a halfway lift. And then exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, scoop and rise all the way back up. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Weight is shifting forward into the toes. Nice. And then exhale, plant the hands. Step 1 foot back, doesn't matter which one. And we come into warrior 2. Now we're just gonna take an abbreviated version of the side body stretching. Inhale, shift forward, exhale back, just 1. And then inhale, extended side angle, exhale back to center. Now we are gonna release that knee or straighten it. Inhale, shift forward, keep the hips facing me. So our hips are turned, our gaze is this way. We're gonna shift our torso down like we were moving into a clock, and gaze shifts up, triangle pose. Now in your triangle pose, if you have a mirror nearby, or you can just feel it in the body, it's really important that if I were to view the side, your torso and your head, very important, should all be between 2 panes of glass. So be careful to not shift forward or to keep the head leaning forward. It may feel good in the moment, but we're not getting as much out of this stretch as we can. Finding your edge, not dumping down, keeping that crunched side a little bit lifted. Arms are at 6 and 12. We're here for 2 more breaths, doing a great job. Last breath. Come on all the way back up. Turn both toes to face each other. Toe heel feet in just a little bit. We take a Malasana squat. Hips are back. Knees are wide. I love this as a reset in between 2 sides, because it is possible to overdo it on the hamstrings, especially if we're not getting a lot of stretching on them throughout the day. So this is a nice break for the hamstrings, but also reminds our hips to open up a little bit more, as you can use your elbows to press them open. A nice reset before side 2 instead of a vinyasa. But you can always take one instead if you would prefer. One more breath here, spine is nice and long. And then exhale, plant your hands into the mat. Press into the mat, shoot your hips up to the sky. Toe heel your feet out a little bit more. Turn one toe to face the side. And we're gonna come into warrior 2 on side 2. So bending into that front knee. Nice work. You're here. Gaze is out over that front hand. Do check your alignment here, because we came into it with an interesting transition. Front heel should be tracking into the arch of your back foot. So there should be a line from the heel to the middle of your foot. Careful that it's not the heel or the toe of the back foot. Nice adjustment if you took it. One breath cycle here. Inhale, and then exhale, reverse angle. Inhale, extended side angle, hold here. And then come on back up to center, straighten that front knee. Inhale, shift forward, keep the torso and head between 2 panes of glass as you shift down. Triangle pose, other side. Nice work. Again, try to keep, I know my sweater is not doing me any favors, but try to keep this side from crunching down. It's really easy to just ragdoll the torso. Keep it nice and lifted. That'll keep the stretch shooting through this side of the body instead of being purely a leg stretch. Nice work. One more breath here. And then come all the way back up. Turn to face the front. Toes one more. Final vinyasa. Bend that front knee. Both arms come through. Shoot that back leg back. Vinyasa or downward facing dog. And then once you get there, option to take knees wide, toes come to touch. Press your hips back for a child's pose. Releasing here, melting your torso down. Nice work. Letting your breath slow. You did a lot of hard work. Let your breath start to deepen. The beginning of our practice, or even if you'd like to try again, take both arms over to one side, one arm crossing in front, stretching back into that opposite hip. One more breath. And then switch to the other side, or you can stay in the center. Couple more breaths here before we transition onto our backs. Last breath, and then come all the way back up. First, we'll transition into a seated position. We've done a lot of folding from a standing position, but we'll send both legs out in front, transitioning to a forward fold, a seated forward fold here. So legs are together, toes are together, heels can be together if that feels comfortable, but sometimes toes touching heels slightly apart feels better. Inhale, arms up, and exhale, bend at the waist first, sending your torso down your legs as much as you can, and then grab onto something and see if you can pull yourself just ever so slightly down, then let the head and neck go. This is a great option to use a pillow if you would like. I'm actually going to not use one tonight. I'm working on a bit of length myself. But if you would like to put a pillow or bolster on your legs, you can relax into this stretch a bit more. We'll be here for 5 breaths, a little bit longer. So if you feel yourself at an edge, kind of a plateau you can't get past, go ahead and inhale, find a flat back again, and then exhale, melt once more. You'll find more length that way. As you let the chin tuck and start to relax your head down, you'll feel that stretch shoot all the way into the crown of your head or the base of your skull where the spine meets. Taking 2 more breaths here in this stretch. And then once you are ready, coming back up, we're going to take a turn to face each other, opening the hips for a butterfly pose. Your hips can be as far, or your heels can be as far apart or as close to you as you would like. Taking one more stretch here to open up through the hips, making sure that our triangle pose isn't the last time we invited some stretch into our hip area. Let this be a little bit more relaxing, more restorative than your triangle pose, perhaps, as it was the peak of our practice. You can stay here, just pulling the heels into your seat, or you can melt your torso forward, again, finding some length. Maybe walking your hands out in front and kind of using that to pull your torso down even more. Continuing to be mindful, even though this may feel like the easy part, quotation marks, of our practice, as we build up to our Shavasana, our final meditation, these are the most important moments where we take all of that energy we built throughout our moving practice and start to bring them into meaning for our mental meditation practice. Taking 2 more breaths here. Nice work. When you are ready, coming all the way back up. And extend one leg out. Opposite foot comes into the hip crease. You're gonna extend for a side stretch here. Now, oftentimes we do a head to knee stretch on one side, but right here we are inviting this stretch down into kind of the top of our hips. If you would like to take a turn and both hips face this knee and take a closed hip position, you're welcome to do that. If your side body is saying, done, I'm okay. But if you would like to stretch even more, where we started to open up through triangle, find the extended side stretch here. One more breath. And then exhale, come all the way back up, pressing into your grounded heel and then this knee. We're gonna come all the way up for a dancer stretch. So you're lifting your hips up, stretching through this hip flexor, and then opposite arm is overhead. Beautiful. What a beautiful stretch to invite movement into the hip flexors, holding there for one more breath. And then coming back down, gently just switch to the opposite side. So other foot pulls in, foot extends out, arm reaches to the side, inhale, and then exhale. Finding length in the side body. Holding there to breathe. Nice work. Again, you can take the option if you would like to shift both hips over to take a closed hip stretch, forehead to knee. You're welcome to do that. I'm enjoying this side body stretch personally, but it's up to you. One more breath here, and then you know what to do. Arm comes back, pressing into the knee and the grounded heel, coming up into a dancer stretch, stretching through the opposite hip flexor. This is a great one to do if you're ever practicing at home and are searching for a bit of a sequence. I know I was right there and still am many days. So searching for a sequence, taking that dancer stretch can be a wonderful way to close down your practice. One more breath, and then back down. Knees are coming out in front. We are headed onto our backs. I'm gonna turn to the side. Let's scoop down through the belly. Start to roll down one vertebra at a time. When you get to the bottom, bring your knees in. Extend the feet high to the sky, coming into a happy baby. Now, happy baby can be very active, or you can keep it a little bit more restorative tonight, just gently using the force of gravity to pull your knees into the armpits, relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders. Most important thing here. The gravity of this pose will do its work for our blood flow, but we can't do anything about that tightness in our shoulders unless we let it go. So really remind them to relax down. 2 more breaths here. Starting to lengthen the breath. Keeping the exhales a little bit longer than the inhales will help to nervous system and get us into the parasympathetic state, which we are searching for as we enter our meditation. Taking one more breath here. And then very gently coming out of happy baby, bring knees into the center, arms outstretched like a T, rock them over to one side, gaze shifts to the opposite side, coming into a reclined twist. Now we'll be here for a few breaths. If you're feeling this stretch on the top of one hip and would like to elevate that a little bit more, you can extend that leg and see if you can reach for it, or maybe even put it kind of resting on a pillow so that you can feel that stretch travel into the IT band. Just an option, you don't have to take it. 2 more breaths on this side. Feeling grateful for this wonderful time you're spending on yourself, wonderful choice you've made to spend this time together tonight. And then inhale, come back to center, bring both knees with you, pause for a moment, and then exhale onto the opposite side. Again, if it feels good, you can extend the leg, but big shocker here, I'm not gonna tell you that you need to do what's on one side on the other. It's okay, especially in something like a twist, if you make a modification on one side that you didn't on the other. If we understand where we are and we start from there, we can start to figure out where we can go. But if you don't start from where you are, you'll never find out where you could be. Taking 2 more breaths here, melting into the mat with each breath. After your last breath, come back through center. One more stretch here. Cross one foot in front of the other, not a figure 4, unless you would prefer that. But where I'm going is a reclined cow face pose. So one foot crossing in front of the other on the lower half, not the upper half. Yeah. So reach around, grab the outsides of your feet and pull the legs in. Yes. This is a different stretch than a figure 4, but a personal favorite of mine because you have so much control over this, and it's also a little bit more gentle on the knees. You can rock a little bit side to side, feeling the pull on the outside of each glute, and where the hamstring and the glute meet. And then hold in stillness in the center. As you pull down, you should feel one glute a little bit more than the other. That's okay. This is a 2-sided stretch, so you don't need to feel the same on both sides in this middle position. One more breath. And then exhale, helicopter your legs, find the second side. Same thing, when you get there, you can rock side to side. You can just feel it out for a moment. And then once you find stillness in the center, you should find a little bit more activation in the opposite glute. If you feel the same one still, that side just might be really tight. I've been there, no worries. Like, I know I'm on the opposite side. It's okay. Your body's telling you what it needs, and we're just here to listen. Taking one more breath. And then exhale, let it go, release the grip on your feet. Maybe hug the knees in one more time. And then exhale, start to let them go, finding your way into your resting pose. So maybe that's both legs extended long, toes falling open, hips falling open, arms in a low V by your sides. Maybe you'd like to add a prop underneath of your knees, kind of propping them up a little bit. That can really help to reset the low back, help it to really melt into the mat. Your choice, your practice. Find wherever feels best to you, and then start to close down your eyes. Gently scanning the body from the bottom of your feet all the way up through the crown of your head. Feeling what just about 50 minutes of movement does for your body. of mindful practice. 50 minutes, just a fraction of your day, of paying full attention to where you are instead of only thinking about where we need to go. We've all been given this chance at a reset button over this past year, but this past year has been a challenge. We've experienced so much loss, so much change. And now, as we start to get back to a world that is opening up again, we have the opportunity to use what we've learned through this time and make these choices, make these mindful choices for ourselves whenever we can. We know we can't always do it, and the world today may look a little different than the world a year ago. But we practice this on the mat here in this space so that when we're out in the world, it becomes a little bit easier to access. It becomes a little easier to tap right into this space. I know that the next time we see each other on Sunday evenings, there might be more distractions, but there might be more space for you. It'll be different, we'll say. So from now until the next time that we see each other, let us practice making these mindful choices, starting from where we are instead of starting from where we could or should be. Activating energy, neutralizing energy. When do you need one? When do you need the other? Getting at the core of balance, the word we will try our whole lives to achieve. Take a few more breaths here just for you in silence. No thoughts, just be. One more breath just for you. And let it go. Gently invite some movement back into your body, rolling through wrists, maybe through ankles. Let the movement ripple to become a little bit bigger. Maybe you bend your knees and you rock them side to side. Now it is your choice if you'd like to stay in your Shavasana for our closing Om, or if you'd like to let your knees rock onto one side, and then with your eyes closed, gently press yourself up to a seated position, representing the rebirth, the starting anew that we have been able to give ourselves through this hour. Eyes closed, hands come to heart center, clearing breath before we find our Om. Exhale, inhale for Om. No. I bow to you, we bow to each other. The light in me honors and adores the light in each and every one of you. May you walk on in peace, hope, and love. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining. Can't wait to see you again very soon. No more Sunday night for April and May, but we'll be back in June and we can't wait.
Thank you. See you then. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great evening.